Thank you, Madam Chair. I'm particularly concerned by the hidden fees that the ticketing industry charges American consumers at the very end of the purchase process. And we're all familiar with this. You search for a ticket online and one price is initially displayed, but when you go to check out, hefty fees are added and the final price is much higher than the original price shown. There was a 2016 report by the National Economic Council that stated, I quote, "At their worst, such fees can be fraudulent or deceptive. At a minimum, they make prices unclear, hinder effective consumer decision-making, and dull the competitive process." So let me start with Ms. Howe. In your written testimony, you stated, and I quote, "Consumers should be able to see the total cost of their tickets, including all fees, at the beginning of the purchase process, not only at the end." So let me ask you, Ms. Howe, how would providing the total ticket price at the beginning of the purchase process, as opposed to the end, benefit consumers?
Thank you for your question, Chairman Pallone. We believe that providing full disclosure of not just the face value of the ticket, but the fees will help aid a consumer in making the right decision. So instead of getting so far down the purchase path, you should know up front what you're paying for and where those fees are going.
And how would, you further stated that requiring all live event ticketing marketplaces to move to all-in pricing would, and I quote, "prevent price manipulation, provide transparency, and protect consumers." But is it Ticketmaster's position that it would support all-in pricing?
Absolutely. We support it, but we believe it needs to be mandated and that all marketplaces need to comply.
So if, as a dominant player in the industry, if you voluntarily implemented this, I mean, you don't see that as being effective? You think it has to be mandated by law?
It's a good question. The reason we don't believe it's going to be effective is that it's confusing to consumers. Right now, you need consumers to understand apples to apples. And today, if you look at Ticketmaster and you go to another marketplace, that ticket may seem more expensive, but the other marketplaces are marking that down and putting fees as high as 40 to 50% on the back end. So they're making ill-informed decisions if you don't have apples to apples.
Okay. Now let me ask Mr. Perez, I'd like to get your views on this issue of all-in pricing. In a briefing with the committee staff, I understand you told the committee that disclosure of a ticket's full price needs to occur as early in the purchase process as possible. So why is it important to provide the full ticket price to consumers up front, and would you support a bill to mandate it?
Thank you for the question, Chairman Pallone. Because of the customer confusion between the primary and the resale market, they are price shopping across for the same ticket inventory across multiple websites, and it's our belief that with legislation that requires all of us to show the fees all in up front, then people will be able to make informed decisions on the value and the cost of the ticket that they're purchasing.
Okay. And then let me finally ask Ms. Burns. I understand that StubHub implemented all-in pricing from 2014 to 15, but ultimately moved away from that model. Why did StubHub move away from all-in pricing, and do you believe StubHub's experience would have been different if other players in the industry had followed your lead?
Yeah, and I just want to make one clarification.
Sure.
We actually do show all-in pricing on our site today, and we allow it through search as well as ticket listing pages. Consumers have an optional view to search based on all-in pricing, so we leave it to the consumer, which we think is the right thing to do. But to answer your question, the reason why we moved away from it is because it was confusing for consumers when we were offering all-in pricing and other ticketers were not, because consumers just didn't understand that they were viewing prices that were inclusive of fees. They thought they were viewing prices that were exclusive of fees. So for all-in pricing to work, we believe there needs to be clear guidelines, clear requirements on what constitutes all-in pricing, as well as universal and consistent enforcement.
Okay. Well, I think it's critically important that consumers have complete information about how much they're going to spend on tickets at the beginning, not at the end. I think all three of you agree. So going forward, I hope the industry will cooperate with us in our efforts to put the consumer first. And all of you said that you would support a mandate. And Ms. Burns, I appreciate your adding that we have to be specific about what that means, because I think that's important too. Thank you. Thank you, Madam Chair.